how much weight, Father, do you give to the entire Fatima revelations?
I consider it to be the key event in the declining fortune of the Roman Catholic organization and the defining event for the near future of the Church in the in the next millennium, in the third millennium. It's the defining event.
Would you tell Art something about the 3 days of darkness when I'm done?
Yes, I will, briefly.
Doctor, 3 days of darkness?
Yes, there's no doubt about it. There are going to be 3 days when there's a great darkness over our earth, and during which it will be dangerous to be abroad, to be outside your home, and even in your home it may be dangerous.
3 days without sun?
3 days without the lateral light we're used to, Art, yes. Without that. But it's like everything else, when it takes place, they will endeavor to give it an astronomical and a geophysical explanation.
Father Malachi Martin?
Yes.
Is the child still alive, the one who became a nun?
Yes, she is. She's 89. She lives in Coimbra.
My God.
Wow.
My God. Has she ever said how she feels about the Church not publishing the third secret?
No, she keeps very quiet for the simple reason that she's been muzzled by the Vatican.
Mm-hmm. Well, the thing that bothers me about this is if the Church is going against what God has told them He wants them to do.
Yeah, in other words, what you're saying...
Their people are out here and they see this. How do they expect us to keep following them in absolute faith?
Bonnie, what I want to say to you is, it's not the Church, it's the churchmen.
Uh-huh.
They are being unfaithful to their vocation.
Yeah, but it seems like it's been so many.
You're telling Gus, whoever Gus was. I know that's our difficulty. That's what in the last 3 or 4 hours, Art and I were discussing, and I summarized it all by saying we are in apostasy to a large degree.
And the last thing I wanted to ask you, is there anything that we can do as individuals other than praying to avert what is coming in that third secret?
We can't avert it now. It is coming. When is something else? But it is coming for sure. Mm-hmm. We can mitigate it. We can mitigate it slightly, if you know what I mean. We can't avert it.
Is the only thing we can do is pray?
Pray, go to communion, say a rosary, cultivate the saints, stay in the state of grace, do good, visit the sick, visit those in prison, do corporal works of mercy. In other words, Bonnie, we know what to do exactly if we want to do it.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be an easy time.
No, it doesn't seem like we're in very easy times now anyway.
No.
Yeah.
But,
Bonnie, thank you.
Thank you, Art. Bye-bye.
Right.
Knowing the future doesn't help one's peace of mind, Art. There is going to be a reckoning, and that nobody existing on the face of this earth will be exempt from knowing the power from on high. They will interpret it in different ways.
That stands to reason.
According
to their beliefs.
That's right, and their culture and their bias. And there will be people who, even faced with the certainty that there is a greater power above our heads, will say
they will deny it. They will. They'll
reject it.
The scientists, for example, will find a scientific explanation for it.
They will. Remember the famous so-called aurora borealis in 1938?
Well, I certainly am aware of aurora borealis, but not one specific.
There was a specific one which they explained by saying aurora borealis, but it really wasn't that at all. They all agreed it wasn't aurora borealis. The only one who put his finger on it was Adolf Hitler.
And he said what?
Well, he was in Berchtesgaden at the Wolf's Lair. That was his famous place when he for weekends with his cabinet. And Albert Speer, who was a member of his cabinet, his architect, tells us in his second book that night they all stood on the esplanade of his villa in the Bavarian mountains, looking out to the east and seeing these extraordinary sights of light. And Hitler said, "Yeah, nun, now we have to shed blood. We didn't shed blood in taking the Tsar, we didn't shed blood in taking Czechoslovakia, but now we're going to shed blood."
So he took that as a sign.
Oh, he took it as it was a sign. Because the Virgin who told the children in Fatima in 1917 about this sign, she told them it would take place just before the Great World War. She said it will be just before they start killing millions.
Can you tell us in a way that we can read between the lines with regard to the third prophecy? Is there a timetable that you are aware of that cannot speak of that we can read between the lines on?
Yes and no. There is it is not 200 years away. It is not 50 years away. It is not 20 years away. Number one.
Well, that's...
And number two, it involves the entire world system. It's not merely one area. It's not merely one religion. It's not merely one race.
Will be apparent to all.
All, without exception. Without exception, and it will be frightening.
Is there a war between heaven and hell that is constantly going on, or is it...
And now it's acute.
Now it's acute.
Now it's very acute, yeah.
And Father, a war between heaven and hell. There have been recent movies about it, and so I hate to have to draw my knowledge of this from motion pictures.
Why not?
But there was... have you seen a movie called Prophecy?
Yes, I have.
Christopher Walken?
Yes, right.
Boy, he sure is a perfectly possessed person on screen, isn't he? It in those motion pictures depicts an actual war between heaven and hell, an escalating war between heaven and hell.
Right.
The fallen angels. When you see something like that, is that anything like you envision to be going on? You know, minus the Hollywood special effects.
Yes, well, minus the Hollywood special effects. Yes, yeah, it is. More. Of course.
We just had some weird noise on the line.
We had, yes. It must be that we're getting on somebody's nerves.
Yeah, that's right. You guys at NSA, just listen, don't cut in, huh?
That's right. It is, yes. But where you find that battle raging is in the souls and lives of living people. And you find it raging and hurting and injuring and killing.
The people you deal with.
Yeah, you do. And terrible things happen. Humanly terrible things happen to people who take the other side, who really serve evil and hurt others. And it spreads from generation to generation. It's a terrible battle, and it goes on all day. And goes on right for the whole week and the whole year, and there's no getting away from it. And it's getting much more acute today than it ever was before. Art.
Well, maybe this is a dumb question, but is there any possibility that that war could ever become an all-out war, one in which the right side wouldn't win, where Earth could be lost?
I think it can get to the point that Earth can be lost for a while. It will be reclaimed. But I think that there's a sunset is creeping over the whole human thing.
Yes.
At the present moment. And it's a gray sludge, and it's slowly but surely extinguishing all love. The world is really getting very cold.
And I think we're now getting back toward that which you really can't fully talk about.
Yeah, that's right.